Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, Reeling in Holistic Health, where we care about your mental health and well-being. I'm your host, Coach Rice, and I want to make sure that you tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, where I have my special guest on to talk about real issues that matter most. I want you to check us out on YouTube, Facebook Live, on Business Facebook page, also on the Be Awesome Network. Stay tuned. I think you're going to really like this next guest.
Welcome to Mondays with Coach Rice. It's a brand new week, the sun's shining bright, a chance to cast your net, step into the light. Life's full of challenges, it's a winding stream, but with Coach Rice, you'll find your dream.
Happy Monday and welcome to Casting the Net, where we care about your mental health and well-being. And with me today, I have an inspirational person who is full of like motivation and candid conversation with Mona Echard. She is a business coach, and I just want us as an audience to get to know her a whole lot better. So, Mona, tell us where you're from and how did you embark upon this journey of being a business coach?
Thank you for the intro, Martha. It is just a pleasure to be here. Let's see, a business coach, how I got started. I don't want to go way, way back, but I do want to go back just a little bit, right? Just a
Go
little,
wherever you
little
need to
bit.
go.
I'll go back just a little bit. So I started in the 90s as a licensed cosmetologist. I got my license after working in human resources and some other areas. And I got my license in 95. So I went to school for a year and got it in 95. So I served people, of course, behind the chair, et cetera, for years. I've been in the industry for like 30 years, by the way.
Wow.
But I stayed in that business and learned a lot and started my own business as far as my own salon, and I just did a lot of things. But I found that when I was working in a traditional salon, that I was always called on to help onboard or do something on the business side. I was behind the chair in these traditional salons, but I seem to always find myself coaching someone or teaching someone or doing something for, our team. So it kind of grew into, you know what, I think I might want to do this someday. But as I went on, in the 90s, probably in the mid 2000s is when I opened my own salon and I started teaching continuing education for salon professionals. And so it just kind of spiraled
Wow.
from there until I got into the finance piece of it. But it started in the 90s and it's just kind of getting ready to kind of cultivate. I believe the best is yet to come, actually, 30 years later after being in that industry and turning myself into a business coach somehow. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. It
So you
happened.
started branching off into learning about business and decided, hey, I'm teaching others, why not turn it into
I
a
did. I did, absolutely did. And I ended up starting out, I think the venture started out as a regional educator in the beauty and wellness space. And then I got a position in a corporate position as a salon business coach for a
wow.
real estate development company, that caters to salon professionals. So again, I found myself kind of moving through that. Before that, I went back to school, got my undergraduate degree in communication and public speaking. So I thought, I talk a lot, so maybe I should probably polish up on a little. I don't know if I did or not, but hey, I went and did that. But the business coaching piece just seemed like home for me. It really just seemed like home for me because, like I said, I had been doing, had been preparing, I guess, along the way.
Now, is the with the business side of it, is that just a certain type of business or is it all the businesses, like any business that come your way? Who are your actual clients?
Yes, my passionate niche is the beauty and wellness professionals that are doing they have their own business
Okay.
in the space where they're leasing a space, are renting a space or whatever you want to call it, and they are building their own small business. So that's my passion. However, kind of spills over to, the general pop, right? So I can help anybody, especially on the financial side, which is kind of, I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit. But the business side, really, that's my niche. Small businesses, particularly those in the beauty and wellness space, because I know that space so well. And again, it's a space that I love. And yeah, those are the folks that I really aim for in general.
Okay. Well, tell us about the financial side.
Okay. Well, the financial side kind of goes with the business. I always say this. I say you can do life without money. You can have a certain type of life without money, but you can't have money without doing life, right? So
Mm,
I balance the finance, the life, and the business. It's kind of a three-pronged approach for me because
okay.
generally what I found was when I was meeting with business clients, we had to get through the life stuff first. And I don't mean the deep stuff. I'm not not a counselor or anything like that, but we're doing life. Life gets to
You're talking
life
about the
in life.
mindset
The
change, right?
mindset change. There you go,
There you
Martha.
go.
The mindset change. We have to talk about, our relationship with what we do, whether it's business, money, or life, right? So then when we talk about business, we have to talk about finance. So I started out in kind of the finance piece. We're kind of around about the same time I started out, in the beauty and wellness space. I always tell people I'm really an open book about not knowing a thing about money when I first started in business. And I try to make people comfortable in understanding that it's okay to talk about what you don't know or what you didn't know as it relates to money. So we just do the foundational piece of it because if you want your business to grow, you got to know how to manage your money and you got to know what your numbers are. So I kind of delve
Wow,
into that
yeah.
space. Yeah, you kind of got to know, right? You kind of got to know where
You
you are
do, even though
to
you're like, not
Right. Yeah. Most people say that too. Nobody really wants to talk about it. Or if I'm being honest, it's a pride thing too, where nobody wants to really talk about what
yes.
they don't know or what they didn't do. Right. So I try to make it fun and
It
easy to
does have
talk.
a twist of shame connected, right?
Absolutely, it does. Yes, it does. And once we get past that, we can get into that piece of it, like knowing not only where your numbers are, how to increase your prices without, being bashful about it, or having a scarcity mindset that your clients are not going to stay if you raise your prices, especially in the beauty and wellness space. And so we just kind of talk about showing up that way, giving them an experience, understanding, and then knowing how to manage your own personal finances. Because, they kind of go together, whether you're in
Oh,
business,
yeah.
kind of seeps over into the other side. So I started that journey in 2019 when I was first introduced to really how money works. And I was kind of, I won't say up in age, but I was old enough to know better by then. And I was like, so many things I didn't know. So many things I could have done differently in business had I known these basic concepts of how money works. So, of course, I bridged the gap with the beauty and wellness and the financial services space. And it's been a match made in heaven, actually.
Wow. So, Mona, I like how you weave them all together because one affects the other. And
Yeah.
I like the journey you taking them on because it does start with the mind and
Yes.
then into like, do you know where your money actually going?
Yes.
I I remember, doing assessments on my clients, and when we delve into the even the financial part or any emotional part, it's always connected.
Hmm.
It's like, oh my God, this affecting this affecting that. So you want to get the pieces together. And so I like how you kind of go into it because the way it's woven together woves into the business aspect.
Absolutely. It's a
I like how
trifecta.
you do that.
It's a
Yeah, I like
trifecta, right?
that.
You can't really get into the kind of the details of
Mhm.
one without kind of understanding the other. And I think that comes from my own personal journey, just kind of understanding my own relationship with money, how I felt about business, and then just kind of understanding my mindset. about it all. So yeah, it
And,
kind of
and
evolved.
as a business coach, what are some of the root causes that you see in businesses that struggle the most?
Oh man, and again,
I know that's a loaded question.
I'm gonna come from my own perspective. When you're in something and doing something in business that you're passionate about, you want to change the world with that. At least you want to
Yes,
change your
that's so
customers'
true. That
world.
is so true.
Yes, you want to make people in our industry, the beauty and wellness, you want to make people look good and feel good about what you do for them. So many times you lead with that emotion, right? You're not really sure about the whole business umbrella. You just say, hey, I want to do this because I'm good at it and I can make people look good and feel good. And I know I'm good at X, Y, and Z. So many times we jump into the lake instead of kind of walking into the pond, kind of understanding that, hey, I need to get some things in order first before I go in. But it starts, I think, with passion. People just go into business sometimes with passion, talent, capability, all of those things, and you feel like, since you've got those things, you can create business. And sometimes it's a struggle when you start in that area and you don't start with, the foundation. Can I do this? Can I afford this right now? What is it going to take for me to invest in this? How am I going to continue to increase the revenue? All the things that we don't consider in that initial, leap of faith.
That is true. When I first started, I did not know how I was going to increase revenue. I didn't know anything about revenue. I didn't know
Me
about the
neither.
P. I didn't know about the P&L. And
Me neither. Me neither. And to add insult to injury for me, when I started my first business, I also simultaneously started a nonprofit organization at the same time because I
Ooh.
wanted the nonprofit organization to sort of, shine a light. Well, I wanted my business to shine a light on the nonprofit organization, working with women who were going from self-sufficiency or dependency to self-sufficiency. And so it was a salon organization. And so it was a twofold thing. So I didn't know what I was doing. I'm like, what? When I think back on it, I'm like, what were you thinking? Trying to do. But you don't know. I just knew I had a passion for women that were, wanted to be stronger and moving it, into their next. And I also had a passion for the beauty and wellness industry. I just didn't know about all the other moving parts that it took for me to get it up and going.
So let me ask you this question. Let's say you have a new client who has not started, but they have a passion. What what would you advise them on their next three steps?
Okay. First, if you got a passion, love that. I would encourage them. I'm a super encourager. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, let me hear everything that you have going on. Oh, that's amazing. And usually it is so amazing because folks are so different and they've got all these different talents. And so I would first start there. And then I would ask, do you have a business plan? Do you have a plan? What is it? Is it on paper? Where is it? No, I have it in my head, but no, we got to put it on paper so that they can see the steps that it takes to succeed in business. So, first, encourage to the business plan, and then what is your investment budget and how are you going to start this?
Mm.
Right? Are you going to start at least in a space? We know the beauty and wellness space, all of these salon suites are popping up all over the place. But where are you going to start? Maybe, renting a chair. So we want to know and it all kind of connects. You see how that connects with
Yes.
the mindset, the business plan, with the revenue and the money, and how that's gonna, how it's gonna shape up for them. So those are the first three steps I would definitely do. And usually those take a moment because again, if you're leading on the emotion of passion and helping people and what you do well, you got to backtrack a little bit and see where should we start, and really get a clear picture.
Why is it, and I have to ask this question because if I'm being honest, when I started my business, I didn't have a business plan, but I do have one now.
Right. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Me, I didn't have one either.
how, did, how important I want you to tell the audience why is it important to have a business plan? Why is that? I have a passion. I'm making money. Why do I need a business plan?
Right. For growth, for sure, for growth. We're in the now because it's so much easier to say how excited we are in the now. Maybe we are making money. I was the same way, making a little money. I'm like, I got this. But when you get that plan together, it really gives clarity. It really lets you know, okay, here's step one, but where do I see myself in 2 to 3 years? How will I overcome adversity or any other objections that might come in my way? And when it's not to look at it in a negative way, really, it's just really to create a puzzle for what you want to do, a vision, really. Get that vision right in front of you and understand what it's going to take to get there. And then you're not surprised when you have those ebbs and flows because your business plan is going to change. It's never going to be exactly the way you think it's going to be because, life and business are that way. But I
I'm
think
glad you
those,
said that. Yeah,
absolutely.
because when I rolled out my business plan, I did learn the industry. It forced me to be able to find out what industry I'm in and location.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so you're right. It's changed when I changed location. That changed my business plan a little bit.
Sure did. Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely, it does.
but I would not have known that. I didn't know that going in. That how I heard of people saying business plan, but I was like, that don't apply to me. But
Right.
I'm so grateful that I have one because
Yeah.
you're right. It gives clarity and it also like I look at it as a roadmap.
Sure, absolutely a roadmap. Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't, like I said earlier, if you don't know where you are, it's really hard to understand where you're going, right? So it is your roadmap for sure. And the same way in finance too. You got to know where you are financially. Where are
Yes.
you? And it's okay that you're not where you want to be. Where do you want to go? Well, let's see how
Right.
that's going to play into all of the things that you're doing at the moment.
And I like how you brought in the finance piece. That is one of the hardest conversations to have
Yes, it is.
is
Yes, it
that
is.
financial piece. That
Yeah,
gotta be the hardest conversation to have.
it is. It
Because
is,
you like you
without a
said,
doubt.
is that pride, right? How do you soften that for your clients? How do you create that atmosphere to have that
Right,
conversation?
right, right. So while I'm feeling them out with the whole, encouraging thing, I'm also feeling them out as a person. You know, do they
Okay.
share? Do I feel like they are uncomfortable with me sharing? I try to find a balance. But generally, when I open up and tell them all of my missteps and misunderstandings early on, it kind of helps you like, oh, wow, I thought I was the only one that didn't know that. No, you are not. So I kind of start that way. Some folks are open books. Some folks we can just say, hey, where you look, I'm struggling financially. I don't know whether I'm coming or going. And those are the folks you can get right down to the nitty gritty and help them understand or really help them self discover. That's
Yeah.
what I try to say. Help them self discover because the last thing people need from me is for me to tell them what to do, right? With their money. Oh,
Right,
you
right,
should be
right.
doing this way. Why did you do that? Well, why did so we give information. That's why I love that financial education is free. And so I guess really in any platform, it's free. If you go out there, you can AI things, you can, Google things. But for me, I just give them that financial education. And then we decide, okay, where do you fit in there? Well, what's the next best step for you? And if it's really difficult, if they're really, really super difficult, I just ask them, what do you want me to know? What would you like for me to know about where you are, maybe financially, or the revenue that you bring? What would you like for me to know? And that helps because sometimes you got to let people take the first step, right? So it's
Right.
sort of a delicate dance, if you will, to get an understanding and get them to speak about it because it's difficult. It could be difficult. It really
When
can.
people want to look at their finances, how do you help them? I mean, how do you have them go through it? Is it just what they get paid, or do you have like a certain way you go through it?
Excellent question. So another way that I kind of feel people out is I've created this sort of expense tracker. It's a I tell them for 3 to 4 months, this is what I want you to do. And if you can do it in 2 months, great, because some people do know kind of where their money is going. And some people, they just don't really have a clue. They're just moving through life, you know, doing what they do with their money, however they do it. So I asked them to go through this tracker and write down all of your expenses. And I divide this tracker into business and personal. Because one of the things I did when I first started business, I mixed everything together. Whatever needed to be paid, it came out of this lump sum. Now,
Right. I used to do that too.
and I
Long
had a
time ago.
business
Long time
account.
ago.
I had a business account, but I still mixed it together because, again, I didn't understand how money works. So I asked them to do that. And I can do that with them if they're open enough. Get your phone out because everybody's, doing online banking. So get it out.
Yes.
Let's see where your money's going. And if they have a business account, let's see where that money's going. If they have a personal account, let's see where that money is going. And we kind of start there. Or I give them that document. Hey, I want you to work on this for me. And you do exactly what you can. And then let's come back in another 2 weeks, depending on, how we're meeting. Let's come back and let's talk about this step because that's a hard step and it takes time to get through that step. It
Yeah, it
really,
does
really
take
does.
time.
So,
It's not an easy thing. Yeah. Because
mhm. So
and I like how you track multiple months. And people might think it's unnecessary, but it's necessary because you change in months what you're doing.
that part right
You
there.
those
Yeah.
nuances that go through, right?
Yes. And if you are inconsistent, like I was early on in business, and honestly, sometimes I still struggle with that. It's like, okay, wait, no, you can't just be doing this. Let's regather ourselves. And many times it's during stressful times when you kind of losing
Yes.
track of things, right? So you got to check in with yourself like, no, let's not do that. Let's not do this right now. Let's get back to our basics. But when you give them that tracker to do it for those few months, they can see just how out of balance they are. It's like, wait a minute, this month I spent $7,000 on stuff I don't even remember. And then last month I only spent 2,000. Where am I? So it kind of helps to organize things a bit too. And again, it gives them the opportunity to take their time with it because it's already a hard space to be in. So we can't rush it. And really, it is based on their own pace, right? What they need to do at the moment. And they have to hold themselves accountable for it too. And I help them with that, with the agree when they agree that, hey, I need accountability. I try my best to do
Yes.
that, to help them with that.
Wow, that's awesome. So tell me about, let's talk about the mindset
Yeah,
part.
let's do it. What do you want to know, Martha?
Because in business, that mindset part is huge
Yes.
because it affects how you get paid, how much you get paid, and who you accept as clients. Oh my God, it's huge.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you deal with the mindset part of business when you have clients? How do you deal with that part?
My own
How do
personal
you
mindset or the
how do you
client's
help
mindset?
the clients
Okay.
through the mindset of, when they dealing with, I don't know how much to pay, charge, and because
Yes, yes.
it's an ongoing, people don't realize how many people struggle in that area.
Absolutely. Now, I said I'm not a counselor or a therapist. However, sometimes we have to go back to find out where our relationship with money came from. Really, we don't have to go so too deep. I can tell you mine came from my mom and dad not really telling me about how money works because, in that era, they were working hard, trying to pay the
Right.
bills, doing those things. They're not talking about investing or saving for retirement and all those things. At least they weren't telling us children that. And what I saw, because my mother and father were divorced when I was 14, so we had two homes. I stayed with daddy in the summer and I had mom during the school year. So I saw two different dynamics, right? And I understood that a lot of times it's just spend the money and that's you. I don't have the money right now. We already did this or that. I've already spent it on X, Y, and Z. So in my mind, you spend your money and then you wait until you get paid and then you figure out what you can do with that money on payday. Because that's what I always
That's a
heard.
lot. It's a lot of people in that racket, right?
Yes. So it created a scarcity mindset for me, right? Because it was like, okay, it's all gone. And not only a scarcity mindset, but it put me on this hamster wheel of that's the way you should do it, right? I should spend my money until I'm gonna get paid next week. So just spend it up until the next week and I'll be good because I'll have that money. So I have to start there with clients as well. And that's delicate. I can't just say,
That
okay,
is delicate. Yeah.
well, what happened to you when you were a kid? Because again, I'm not a therapist, right? I always say, what is your relationship with money? That's what I
That's
generally.
the same thing. I asked
What
the
is your
same question.
relationship?
Yes.
And if that relationship lends itself for me to kind of understand more, then I understand more. Otherwise, I have to get to that point where I can understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, I had to do the work in that part too with the relationship with money. And man, it was funny. I'll be honest and candid, but it was, but I watched my dad. He was the sole provider and he
Mhm.
would take us to go get school clothes at,
Uh-huh.
time to go to
My
school.
dad did the
And
same thing.
he slap out his credit card. And I thought, ooh, he rich. And
Yeah,
but he really never denied us anything. So I was like, oh, credit card means power.
absolutely.
So I connected that association and ended up with a big, huge thing of credit card debt.
Yeah. Oh
But
my goodness.
until I did the work and was like, oh no, I'm a slave to the lender. And so
Look, I can totally relate to that, Martha, because this is what when I do contacts with my clients and talking about credit card, I carry this around with me. This was
should have
my
did
credit
that.
card debt.
That's what I should have did. I should have kept it after I cut it
This-
up.
I'm
But
so afraid of credit cards right now because I had to cut all these up. And this was, this started early on in business and
oh, that is
just
so I
all
love
of
it.
the
I love
things.
it.
So I keep it as a reminder and I share that with other people because I was the same way. So
That's
it's so
amazing.
amazing how alike we all are in so many areas, but we're just not wanting to share that
And you
necessarily.
think you're alone, but you're really not.
Mm-mm.
That's the interesting part about it. I'm thinking I'm the only one that thought that.
You are not alone in
I
so
felt
many
like
ways.
I felt a little funny about other people having that problem. No,
I know that's
no,
right.
I thought I was the only one. No, I'm
You
just
thought you
kidding.
were the only
But
one. And I think that's what happens.
and yeah,
That's what creates those fixed mindsets. We get
yes,
fixed in that and we are debilitated in that until we start being open and honest about. I mean, the statistics show us that so of 62% of people are in credit card, 62% of Americans are in over their heads. And that's over
yes.
half of the American people over their head in credit card debt. So we can't be alone, but do we want to talk about it? Maybe not. How do we talk
No, I ain't
about
want to
it?
talk about it. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, no, no.
We don't want to talk
But
about it.
it was needed to confront it because it gave me a story. It told a story about my life, and I was shocked that it told a
Absolutely.
story.
Absolutely. It tells a story. And how do you rewrite a story? You tell it, you get it out there, and you rewrite that thing because that's
And you
not the way
changed the
you want.
narrative.
Really, it's how the story ends anyway. It's not necessarily how it begins, it's how it ends. So
Exactly.
that's
But I
literally.
like your systematic strategy. I like that. I like your professionalism. I could tell you got a system going.
Yeah. Yeah. Created out of my own personal life. Those are the best systems, really.
Those are the
If
best
you can
systems because you've
really
been
be
through it.
authentic.
I can't
Yeah.
take you nowhere I've never been, right?
Absolutely. Oh, that's good. I like that. I'm gonna write that down. Okay, I'm gonna use that. I love it.
And anything hidden can't be healed.
That's
So let it
right.
out.
That's right. So true. I agree with that
Yeah. So
100%.
I do like your approach. And so if the audience, what else do you want the audience to know about you and what you do?
Let's see. Well, I want them to know that I think you said it best just a bit ago. that I am for them. I want them to win. Um, I'm trustworthy because I feel like confidentiality is very important. Sometimes when you have maybe even a circle of friends or a circle of business associates, it's important to let people know up front that you can be trusted with
Mhm.
whatever they're
That's
doing
true.
because you want them to win. I want you to win. It's like I want to win. So I
Right.
want you to win. So I do like that. And I also like to leave people with something. Of course, you and I talked about what we'll leave the audience with today,
Yes.
but I like to leave you with something because I understand how it feels when you're sitting in maybe a conference or you're sitting even in a coaching session or whatever, and you leave there more confused than you came, right?
Hmm.
You're like, what? Okay, I got all this information. What do I do with it? So I love to give actionable steps that you can do today. You don't have to wait
Okay.
till tomorrow.
Yes.
You can do it today. Whatever it is I'm providing, you can do it today. And generally, that little nugget is free of charge. I just want you to know I'm your girl when you need to go further in those life structures, right? Life, money, business, right? So that's
Yes.
kind of how I like to leave a mark for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So tell us more about like what is it that you have that I know you mentioned I want to give the audience something.
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
Yes, my favorite is the How Money Works ebook that is free. And I think it is like the holy grail for me. It's what I learned so much from when I first received it. And I thought about, oh my gosh, this is my life story. And then the ending is so beautiful because you can change what's happened in your past as it relates to money, and you can have a different story. So that How Money Works book is amazing. And when the audience downloads it, which I think that's what we'll leave, Martha, that book.
Yes.
I think that's going to be a good one. When they
Okay.
download it, they automatically go into my CRM for my newsletter. And so you'll get a periodic newsletter. I promise I don't bombard your email account, but something that's going to resonate with you, you'll receive that eventually. And again, when you do, and it's time for a conversation, or you have questions, or you're just curious, then you'll definitely be there for me. I'll be there for you to answer those questions for you. So I think that's the main thing. It goes through everything from paying yourself first, getting out of debt, um, retirement, just your whole financial house. Mistakes that you might have made, you might notice those in there and be like, "Oh my goodness, yeah, I did that. Now let's see how we fix that." And then who do I need now? Who can I call Mona and see if she can help me go to the next step with that? So it's a
Yes.
book that's got a lot of good information.
Well, Mona, I am so grateful that you decided to come on my podcast.
Oh,
And
it's
I
my
love what you're doing because so many people need the help.
absolutely.
And so many people need to know that there's someone they can trust with their information because
Sure.
people are so afraid to touch that area, but it needs to be tapped into. So
Absolutely.
I'm
Thank you
so
so
grateful.
much. I'm more grateful. And you know what you've done? You've just made my day today. And thank you so much for the invitation and for accepting my yes, because
Oh, yeah.
it's been great talking to you. And I
Is
hope
I
that
want to, yeah, I'm so excited. I want to see you on more platforms.
absolutely from your lips to God's ears.
We're
Okay.
gonna make that happen.
I appreciate you and all the things that you do for businesses and for individuals. It's amazing. And it's kingdom work for sure. Thank you so much.
And I get to learn a lot. And I get to say, hey, if I need that area, I know who to call. This is my digital Rolodex.
All right. I love it. I'm honored to be in that Rolodex now.
This is my digital Rolodex. I kid you not. Because I'm
Love
telling you, it's better that it's we sometimes we definitely need sometimes we need outside resources to
it.
help
Yes.
us grow. You get to a point, you're like, wait a minute, I'm in a different space. I need help. And it's nothing wrong with that because I'm glad it takes the pressure off of me not to be the person who has to know it all. But I
Absolutely.
know who do know.
Absolutely. When we create that circle, oh my gosh, girl, great things can happen because you've got all the
Yes.
boxes covered with people who are willing to help you. So that's a great place to be for
And
sure.
so Mona also knows how to help you invest, and so that's a whole nother show. But
Absolutely. Have me back. Have me back
that's
when
older,
it's
but she also can help you and teach you how to invest as well. So we talked and I heard her story, and you will hear more. You will see her again on one of my platforms. And so
thank
I just
you,
want to
Monica.
thank you so much for embracing us with your presence, your smile, your spirit. It's been wonderful. And to the audience, if you really truly feel like this podcast really helped you in any kind of way, or you know someone, please do share the link and subscribe to my channel. I have Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. And Be Awesome Network as well is one of the networks I do um, semi that I do also go live in. So I just want you guys to really reach out, get the help you need. And the reason why I want you to subscribe so that when you'll get the notification, because I always have amazing people on my platform, y'all. You guys have I've not failed you yet, right? So so I just
Thank
want to just thank you guys and thank you, Mona, so much for coming on.
Oh, you are more than welcome. I hope to talk to you again real soon.
Oh, absolutely. And I just want to say happy Monday and you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
It's your time to shine. Journey to chart. Coach Rice wisdom.